What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Eli Jones, and I'm back here with episode 2 of HogTalk. And although there is a lot of football recruiting news going on, I'm just going to focus this episode on basketball and all that because there's going to be a lot of recruits that we're going to land within the next couple days. And so I want next week's episode to really focus on football and all that. I was also gone on vacation, so I haven't really had time to record any episodes, but I'm back here. And let's just jump right into it. So, one thing that I did miss, this happened a few days back, is four-star point guard Layden Blocker committed to Arkansas. He is from Little Rock, Arkansas. He's a 6'2", 175, four-star. And I think he's the number 34 player in the class according to 247 Sports. And I really do think that it's pretty early right now. I think that he has the potential to bump up to a 5-star. So we'll see where that goes. But as far as Layden Blocker, I've seen that he's very fast. He's, like I said, he's 6'2". He's pretty small, so he's got that speed capability, and he can jump really high. He plays above the rim really well. He, as a junior, had a 3.8 assist to turnover ratio at whatever high school he went to. He just really needs to work on his shooting a little bit. When I did watch film, he wasn't the most elite shooter, but that can definitely be fixed over this summer and basically the next whole year. So Layden Blocker, that was a very, very big commitment. And the next two guys that we're trying to go after are two 5-stars, the number 11 and number 12 player in the 2023 class, which is Ron Holland, who's a 6'8" power forward out of Duncanville, Texas. He's a 5-star, he's the number 11 player in the class. And then we have Bay Fall, who is a 6'10" center out of Denver, Colorado. They're both looking at Arkansas, and I do think I'm pretty confident that we can pick them up. I've looked at their other schools. I'm going to have to look back at what other schools they got offered from, but I'm pretty sure it's the classic schools like Auburn, Kentucky, a bunch of other SEC schools, but I do think that Arkansas is going to be the most appealing to those guys. And the 2023 class is looking really, really strong. And I do think that this Arkansas program is, for the next decade, going to be one of the premier programs to come to if you're trying to make the NBA. Just in the last 4 years, we had Daniel Gafford get drafted, and then we had Isaiah Joe get drafted. Then we had Moses Moody, who was a lottery pick. And then this past year, we had Jalen Williams get drafted. And it's almost inevitable that one of our guys next year, in particular, Nick Smith, is going to get drafted. I think Nick Smith Jr. has the potential to be drafted in the top 3. I was looking at film, and I was looking at some prospects, and I saw that Victor Wembanyama, that 7'3", 7'4" guy from France. I think he's probably going to go number 1. But if he weren't in this draft, I really do think that Nick Smith Jr. Could go number 1. We'll see, though. Nick Smith Jr. could prove to be one of the most generational talents we've ever seen. So we'll just see where that goes. But I do think that Victor Wembanyama is probably going to take that number 1 overall spot. And I do think that Jordan Walsh and Anthony Black both have the potential to be lottery picks. I think Jordan Walsh has the potential to maybe stay like a couple years. I do think that Anthony Black, being a 6'8" point guard who can shoot well, I think he's going to go to the NBA just because the NBA is really becoming it's really becoming a league where if you're tall and you can shoot, then you're going to play well. And so I think teams are really, really going to like him. And I'm just so excited for this season, man. We have the veteran presence. We have the freshman talent. And, I think I'm not going to set my expectation that we win the national championship just because it is college basketball. And we've seen teams like 2019 Duke, who had Zion, RJ Barrett. They had 2 of the top 3 picks in the NBA draft, and they didn't win because it's March Madness, and you can lose at any given time. But I do think that if we don't at least make the Final Four, I think it'll be a failure. So if I'm an Arkansas fan, if you're an Arkansas fan, I would not set the bar so high as a national championship, but I would try to expect at least, at the bare minimum, Elite 8 Final Four. And I think that if we make or win the championship, then that would be a very, very successful season. The next thing I wanted to talk about was the SEC schedule for the 2022-23 season was released, and I have a list right here of the games. So we play a home and away game versus Alabama, Kentucky, LSU, Texas A&M, and Missouri. We play exclusively at home Florida, Georgia, Ole Miss, and Mississippi State. And then exclusively away, we play South Carolina, Vanderbilt, Auburn, and Tennessee. So our away schedule is going to be very tough. We play Bama, Kentucky, Auburn, and Tennessee all away. Like I said, we play Bama and Kentucky at home as well, but those are going to be some really difficult games to win, especially considering it's the SEC, and it's just really hard to win on the road in the SEC. We got kind of lucky last year. We were able to play Auburn, Kentucky, and Tennessee all at home. When we went to go play at Tennessee, we lost. We were down 20 about the whole game, and then we had that one little stretch at the end where we almost won. But, yeah, they held a pretty comfortable lead in that Tennessee game when we played at Tennessee, and that just shows how difficult it is to play on the road in SEC play. But as far as the schedule prediction goes, I think for home and away, I think we beat Alabama and Kentucky once each. I think we beat Alabama and Kentucky at home and then lose to them away. So that'd be 2-2. I think we beat LSU, Texas A&M, and Missouri both times we play, home and away. And then at home, I think we can honestly go undefeated at home if we beat Florida, Georgia, Ole Miss, and Mississippi State. I really do think that we have a good shot of going undefeated at home just because Bud Walton, as you guys know, is one of the most electric places to play in all of college basketball. So it's going to be really difficult even for those good teams like Kentucky to come in and try to win. And then away, I think we're going to beat South Carolina and Vanderbilt, but I do think that we're going to lose to either one of Auburn or Tennessee. So my record prediction for the SEC would be 15-3 or 14-4. It just really depends because I want to say that we only lose to one of Auburn or Tennessee, but I think that there is a chance we could lose both of those games. And it's just a really tough schedule, and as an up-and-coming student there, I would really like us to play Auburn and Tennessee at home, but the Bama, Kentucky, LSU games, those are all going to be really fun to go to at home. Even the Florida game, every time we play Florida, it's always a really good matchup. So, but yeah, 15-3 or 14-4 for basketball season. And, I just really think that the direction that Eric Musselman is taking this program is very, very high. I think we have a very high ceiling the next 10 years. I think we have a very high floor and a very high ceiling. So I think that Arkansas, like I said earlier, is going to be one of the premier spots for recruits to come who are trying to make it to the NBA. Eric Musselman has NBA experience. And I was talking to my dad earlier, and I was saying this is really the first year that Eric Musselman on this Arkansas team has had the ability to coach top-level talent. I know Moses Moody was very good. He was a lottery pick, but I'm talking about 3 McDonald's All-Americans who could all potentially be top 10 picks. This is the first time that Eric Musselman has had that kind of talent, and he still managed to go to the Elite Eight back-to-back years. And during this past year when we lost to Hofstra, we lost our first 3 SEC games, I definitely had my doubts as well. I wasn't sure if we were even going to make the tournament at that point. But Eric Musselman took a team full of transfers, J.D. Notae, Stanley Amude, all those guys, Audice Toney, and he just made it work at the end of the season. We peaked at the right time, and we made the Elite Eight. And I think this is the year that we finally push ourselves over the hump, and I think that we can win the SEC. I think we can win the SEC tournament maybe, although it is pretty difficult to win the SEC tournament. We didn't even win the SEC tournament in 1994 or 95 during those 2 championship runs. Obviously we lost in 1995, but we still made the championship. And, I think it's just going to be really tough to win the SEC tournament. I think the last time we won the SEC tournament was 2000 or something, and then we lost to Miami in the round of 32. So, but yeah, I think this is the year that we really go over the edge. I think we can win the SEC. I don't know about the SEC tournament. I think we can develop some high-level NBA talent. I think Nick Smith Jr. has the potential to be a top 10 player in the NBA within the next 5 to 7 years. And I'm just so excited to see what Eric Musselman can do with this program. But I think this is going to end Hog Talk episode 2. Just wanted to get a few things out there, just some opinions on this year's schedule, just some updates on some recruiting. And then next week's episode is just going to be about football recruiting. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch y'all next week. Peace.